Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here, and this is the one I've been waiting for. The deciding video to say which phone is faster. The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus versus the iPhone XS Max. If you take a look at these on paper, the iPhone XS Max looks pretty weak compared to the S10 Plus, but Apple's always had that chip optimization, the head start and lead in chip development. All right, now spec-wise, these are closer than ever, 8 nanometers now on the Snapdragon 855 versus 7 here. Of course, the 9810 Exynos, if you have it, is a 7 nanometer chip. Also, the RAM, quite a big difference here. The iPhone XS Max has 3 gigabytes. The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus has 8 gigabytes or 12, depending on which edition you get. A bit lacking, Apple, definitely in the physical hardware. In this video, we'll be testing a variety of scenarios, so we'll have a good idea about which phone performs better and where. So let's get started on a comprehensive speed test between the greatest right now. Okay, so let's start with the usual, the real world speed test. So running all of these apps consecutively, basically what you do on a day-to-day basis and seeing how the phones handle them. Now there's a spin this time around. These phones are fully loaded, so they've got all my data on them, pictures, music, so they are loaded up. This is the first time ever doing a test like that, and I think it will change things. And one of the biggest improvements I personally saw on the Snapdragon 855 chip is the fast export time for photos, for videos. This is a 10K image and 100% JPEG quality converting it to, and the Snapdragon 855 just flew past it. So definitely an improvement. Another big factor here is the animation speed, which the Samsung Galaxy S10's animations are half of that of the iPhone. And then we're going to be doing a second part where I actually remove animations and change the animations on the iPhone. And there's a big difference as well. So approaching the halfway point of the speed test, you can see both are neck and neck. You really cannot tell a difference between them. They're on the same application even. I changed up the order and the type of applications. I added the Tesla app, basically stuff that I use more on a daily basis. And I put Grand Theft Auto earlier on, so jumping from small apps to large apps, then back to small apps, web-based apps, there's a lot of variety here, and it's really getting the core essence of the speed. And by far, I want to make this disclaimer, this was the most difficult speed test I've ever published on this channel. The Samsung Galaxy S10 for no reason would crash, apps would stop working, a Grand Theft Auto basically half the time wouldn't even load. I don't understand. I think it's this optimization. The device is so new, it's not even on market yet, where app developers haven't fully released updates to support it, and it was very, very apparent. So this score may not even be reflective of the final result over time, and that's why we do a variety of speed tests, just to give you the best rough idea of the speed from all angles. So at this point, the Samsung Galaxy S10 takes charge and is actually in the lead, already exporting 4K video. This is a 1.5 minute clip, 4K, around 200 megabytes, and it is just powering through. This is the first time I'm seeing Snapdragon actually compile and export video faster than iOS. That was very surprising to me. As we wrap up the video editing process, there's a point I'd like to make, and that's the fluidity of the home screen. On the iPhone, while you're leaving an app, you can already be clicking to open another one. On the Samsung, you actually have to wait for the animation to finish. The overall gesture control, just the fluidity of the home screen, that's so different between these, and it's very apparent using them and actually during the speed test so much more. So this is where things get interesting. The Samsung Galaxy S10 really shows its prowess on round 2, when every single application is still loaded in the background. There's a little delay when loading the animations, but yes, rest assured, every single application was still preloaded. I didn't have to reload anything, and that's with 8 gigabytes of RAM. The iPhone with 3 gigabytes still managed pretty well. It's the big ticket items like Grand Theft Auto that had to be reloaded, but overall all these smaller apps were still there. Apple is continuously working on that optimization in iOS, and it's apparent, but it's still, it needs more physical RAM. That's basically what it all comes down to. So the S10 finishes round 2 with a 46-second time, which isn't the best I've seen, but considering modern apps are getting larger and harder to load, that's still very formidable. And the iPhone XS Max finishes with 42 seconds round 2. Okay, and this is the interesting part. So for the second test, I wanted to rerun the original, but with no animations. On the iPhone, I changed the animation to a slide in. It's faster than the stock one, but just wanted to show you how dramatically different the results could be without animations. On the Samsung Galaxy S10, it doesn't matter so much at all, because the moment you click that button, the app starts loading regardless of the animation. That's something I noticed. The iPhone actually waits for the animation to finish before starting to load preload the app. So that didn't make as much difference as I thought, but all in all, the animations thing mostly mattered on round 2 when apps are already preloaded in the background. And this again all ties in with the RAM. If you have a lot of RAM and apps stay open in the background longer, that means when you launch them with a shorter animation, that's where you save the real time. And in round 2 for the iPhone, that was really apparent. And this is why one of my most requested features to Apple for iOS 13 is the ability to remove or shorten animations to a shorter period, because they're simply too long right now, and there's quite a difference when you do that. The iPhone on round 2 saved 15 seconds, and on round 1 a little bit. The round 2 for the Samsung Galaxy S10 was quite dramatic as well. Long animations are the enemy, and we should be shortening or getting rid of them altogether. Wow, just wow, what a process. This was one of the most difficult speed tests ever due to the crashing on Android, just completely unoptimized for most of these apps, and it's very, very distinct. So next up, let's go ahead and do a startup test. So this is iOS versus Android P 9.0. Basically, how long it takes to start from a completely dead device. And we're gonna launch in 3, 2, 1. So these are both unlocked. They, I believe, have no carrier labels, although the Samsung might. And this is running iOS 12.1.2, just a couple versions behind from the newest, but really nothing different speed-wise, so I don't expect a difference. Once UFS 3.0, the new memory standard, launches here, it's gonna be even faster, but as you can see, the iPhone had a few second head start here. Okay, so with both of these devices on, I'm gonna clear out the app switcher. Very nice having a button on Android. And let's launch some of the apps that I use on a daily basis. So Instagram, 1, 2, and it's ready to go faster. Oh, actually the same time. By the time it refreshed, same on both. And camera, 1, 2. So without animations, this one is obviously faster. Very cool to see. Google Maps, 1, 2. Again, faster over here on the Android native territory. Tesla app, 1, 2. And looks like the iPhone was a little bit faster, but both pretty much the same. And Netflix, 1, 2. So much faster on the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus. Let's actually launch Asphalt here, 1, 2. This is a huge application on both. So as you can see, full screen experience on the S10 Plus. It means the app has somewhat been updated. And yeah, it was first by a couple seconds, so good to see. Let's try something like Spotify here, 1, 2. And the web-based app loaded first on Android without the animation. YouTube, 1, 2. And again on Android, very cool to see. And SoundCloud, 1, 2. So yeah, it looks like all the web-based stuff definitely loads faster on the S10. Amazon, 1, 2. So it's very good to see. Looks like there's some optimization here that the iPhone may not have even had. Anyways, so what can I tell just from app launching on both of these? I'd say the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus takes the cake on that one, but it's not by much. Really, it isn't. Keeping apps open in the background is much more important to me than saving a couple seconds launching every application, a couple milliseconds, I mean. But the Galaxy S10 is definitely the winner on that. The iPhone had to refresh them after a while, so good to see. All right, let's get into the benchmarks with Geekbench 4. Great place to start here. This will give us a general overview of the multitasking score and the single core performance of the processor. All right, and here are those legendary scores. So the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus does approach the multi-core score of the iPhone XS Max, but considering this is about half a year newer, you would expect it to be at that score. Single core score is definitely lacking. And again, this is not Samsung's fault. This is Qualcomm's fault with their processors, not necessarily even faults, just where they're at technologically. While this is running just for fun, I like to see the hottest point on both of these devices. It looks like we got 112 degrees on the S10, hottest point here on the logic board, 106. So interesting, even with the cooling chamber, the iPhone remains a few degrees cooler versus the S10 Plus. All right, and here are those scores. So fairly close aside from the GPU, which the S10 Plus has double score on. Very cool. So those are the benchmarks. Lastly, I'd like to test out biometrics. Okay, and let's let the battle of the biometrics commence. On the right, we've got Apple's Face ID system. On the left, the all-new ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, which is on a very specific spot. It's kind of easy to miss, but let me try syncing this as closely as possible. 3, 2, 1. Wow, look at that. At least double the speed over Face ID. Let's do that once again. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there's simply no animation. It jumps right into your home screen. There's no waiting for that drawn out animation. I love it. And one more time. I'm literally addicted to this. Wow, so much faster. And with the screens on, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, even so, considerably faster. And one last time for safe measure. 1, 2, 3. In case you guys had any doubts, yes, the fingerprint sensor is faster versus Face ID. Of course, it's not as secure as Apple would like you to believe, but considerably faster. So all around, guys, what can I tell you? The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus, definitely some very great RAM management. Apple needs to work on that in iOS. And not only that, it's a hardware limitation. They need to add more RAM to this bad boy. Otherwise, it was considerably fast. The export of 4K video is so much better than before. Snapdragon 855 definitely got that on lockdown. So I'm liking what I'm seeing, guys, definitely. The OS just needs a little bit more polish, but ultimately I'd say because of the animations difference, the S10 Plus does have a slight advantage here. So thanks for watching, guys. Those are my results of the S10 Plus comparison to the iPhone in the speed test sense, and hopefully it may even influence your decision in purchasing one or the other. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.